EP.4.
Okay, Teen Titans is automatically out. I'm sorry.
Teen Titans is not automatic. Hang on a minute.
It's
just because it's not like a serialized, like episode by episode story, it still has a lot of overarchingness to it that is very satisfying to watch from beginning to end. Like it really does.
Yeah, sure. Well, like, I mean, nah.
Okay, admittedly the ending was pretty abrupt. It
What
was
ending?
pretty strong. Okay, admittedly the lack of ending was pretty abrupt. But the story to get to where it didn't end, it could still technically be going. We don't.
I mean, it could be. They did say it's coming back. I think, kind of. I mean,
It's not. That's just face the fact. It's not.
I mean, they did that. They did the
If it
movie.
does come out, if
They
it
did
does
that
come
movie.
back,
Could
as a
bring
Teen
the hype
Titans
back.
Go movie, it doesn't count.
I know, but the regular Teen
I
Titans
already
are
watched
in
that
it.
movie.
I did.
It wasn't great.
It wasn't great, but I was
The only way
Yeah, no, it was good.
the original Teen Titans is coming back is
The original Teen Titans Go movie, not as bad as I thought it was.
I didn't
I
like
low-key
it.
like Teen Titans Go.
I love
Okay, we've talked about Teen
Go.
Titans enough. It's my turn now. So,
Look at me, I'm Josh. I can't even
Oh,
spell the
I'm
name
big.
of my own show.
I'm
right.
big producer, man.
What is
I don't
it?
know
What
how
is
to spell it.
RWBY?
I don't know how
shut up
colors
all
work.
What does it spell?
it spells Ruby, and it's the initials of all their names.
That's how you pronounce a W.
I don't care. That's how it is. In the context of the show, and in the context of the show, the story is fantastic. And
Why didn't they just make the
and
W
how-
named one a
and-
U named one so they could spell Ruby right?
You know what
Let me
else?
tell you this,
You
I
know,
don't-
you know what beats out both of these?
What?
The fact that Ruby's still gone. Yours
Mine
got
ended.
canceled.
That just
Yours
means-
ended.
Yeah,
mine
that's not
still
ending.
gone.
That's just it finished the story.
Mine was cut down in its prime. His finished at like a very natural point. Yours is
It's
getting
still going.
oversaturated.
Mine
No,
got
it's
to
not.
the end.
So it's not.
Mine got to the end. Yours hasn't.
Mine's getting to the end.
Okay, but Legend of Korra.
There's a lot of things that have gotten to the
Yeah,
end.
let's
Like,
be honest. Before you say anything,
Hey,
Legend of Korra.
If we can bring up Teen
that's
Titans
also
Go, we can
canon.
bring up
I
Legend of
said I
Korra.
like Teen Titans Go. And I also like Legend of Korra. I do not like the character Korra. She sucks. But everything else in the show is cool. Lava bending.
Okay, you know what?
That lava bending was tight as
I'll give
hell.
you
I
one
don't
thing
know
with
if I
Legend of
would-
Korra. The third season, the third book for
liked
Legend of
it all.
Korra was actually pretty good.
I like the first one. I like the story about the non-benders rising up
I
and
didn't
being
just
able to
like-
chi block benders
My-
out of their own things.
Korra's whole thing to me was every idea for every season was a fantastic idea,
yeah,
and it was
yeah.
executed so poorly.
Well, the spirits for
because
the
Korra
the
sucks.
spirits for the second
character.
season of Korra was actually a good idea because that was never
Oh, that's
really
such a
explored.
good
really
idea.
elaborate.
Hey,
But
the
to me,
first season-
I like that it was never really explored originally, though, because it made it like this very mythical, mystic.
Yeah, I guess.
present,
but,
so I
mean, it's
actually really
always-
didn't like
it's
that they delved
always-
into
it's
it so
been-
much.
always been there as like a side thing. It's
Yeah.
never,
Well, that was the thing, though. So when I first heard it, I was like, I hate that they're gonna like over-explain this thing that's just kind of supposed to be this like mystical, like afterlife, like how we don't know of it. But then they did it, and I was like, oh, they still kept it very mysterious, even though they were like in the thick of it. I kind of liked that.
First
I
one was
appreciated
also-
that.
Let me just say, if we're talking about straight up story, and you guys are saying the ideas for all these stories are great, then I think I still kind of win this argument.
But the thing is, well, like for Korra, story is one thing, execution is another.
Yes, absolutely.
You can have a good story, but if that story's not
If it's not a
executed,
well-laid
if it's
story.
not-
story, let's leave
you
it
can
at
have you can have all the pieces you can
Or
have
we
all
could
the
just finish
pieces
the
to make a fantastic like structure. But if you put all the pieces in the wrong spot, then the structure sucks.
Josh, I've never seen your structure because it's not on TV.
Guess what? It's not, and you know. But
So
you
Nick
still
off
know about
in
it,
the
don't
corner
you?
has a point, but
Barely.
before that, I'd like to
I
deviate
don't know
real
anything
quick.
about it.
I would like to say that I love that every one of these debates, Josh has just come up with this weirdly specific metaphor for what we're talking about.
Because I like to make analogies, okay?
I know,
Jeez.
and I appreciate it heavily, because every time you always are like, let's equate it to this, and I just...
I like to put out real world specifics.
I like my teacher.
So one main point I think you guys are missing,
Yeah.
none of you have argued against Avatar, you've only argued against Legend of Korra.
Exactly. They can only argue against Legend of Korra because Avatar
Because
has a
Avatar
perfect
has a
story.
really good
It's good-
story.
it has a
It
good
does
It's a
story.
perfect story.
Avatar has a good story.
Give
I'm
me-
not gonna
what do you mean
lie.
good? It's
But at the
perfect.
same time,
Give me one flaw.
Ruby also has a good
You
story.
can't tell me Ruby's story is better because it's not done yet.
The story that's currently being told right now is a good story.
But if you can only judge a whole story, not parts of it. I
You
can't say
can't
the beginning of the
completely
Teen
story.
neg-
Titans
you
is
can't
the perfect
completely
example that you
negate me.
can judge a
You
story
can't
by
say-
parts
you
of
can't
it.
say, oh,
Because there are
books-
so many self-contained stories in chunks that are all good in their own right. Most are good in their own right, but like any show, like there's some falling points.
Round 2.
Titans literally is nothing but characters. That is what drives every point, and that is the bulk. It is like a 70% of a show is
Technically, a
about
stickler.
characters.
Technically, your characters are not comic book accurate. Therefore, they don't exist.
Because it
in my
deviated,
eyes.
because it didn't just do a carbon copy of a comic
He's
story,
right.
it took its own liberties and chances, and it did a fantastic job of it. And every
Can
character
we-
has flaws that are addressed from the
Hold on,
beginning.
somebody actually hit me.
What, who hit you?
There are a few characters that actually aren't really developed that much, like Cyborg.
Yeah, a few.
Cyborg actually-
is very
they
well
did-
developed.
well, yeah, the
Cyborg
character
has some
that is-
fantastic moments of development.
Yeah, you're right, but at the
His
same time,
backstory
we
never gets that fleshed out, if that's what you
understand
mean.
his backstory.
But
like,
you don't need to understand a character's
think
backstory
you
to
do
understand
when
who
the-
they are as a person.
True. but
It
at the
helps.
same
Oh, it
time,
absolutely
I think
helps.
I would like to know why this character is like.
But Teen Titans also has
90%
the
robot.
advantage of having origins from comics, and Robin never
Robin
gets a
also
fleshed out
never gets his
backstory
back- yeah.
because everyone knows who Robin is. Cyborg never gets a
He's
backstory.
the gay one with Batman.
Yeah, he's the one that wears the spandex with Batman, but not anymore. Now he's a badass.
Yeah, now
And
he's
now
badass.
he has spiky hair.
Pants.
Yeah, but every character has flaws that are constantly addressed throughout the show that they have to deal with in some way or another on their own or together, and that's the
Yo,
beauty.
can I
Of
look
even
you-
like the
Can we talk about that one part where Cyborg? You thought he was talking about being black, but he was talking about being a cyborg.
subtleties,
whoa.
the subtle undertones.
Yes, I'll give you that.
And I've
one
never felt
moment.
more excited than that whole episode where he struggled with like, nah, I'm a cyborg, so once I hit 100%, I hit 100%, and then he has like that pushing contest with that dude, and then he goes
yeah.
over 100%. He was like,
Okay,
oh.
that was a good episode.
It was a
Okay.
fantastic
Okay,
episode.
That was a good episode. Okay.
I'll let you guys have your points now because I went on for a
Okay.
minute.
You want me to go first?
No, I'll go first.
I'm just saying, if you can name every character in Avatar, then you probably know who it is. Don't act like you forget.
Who was the girl? Wait, I'm just gonna touch this one. Who was the girl who wrote the giant lizard? She had a weapon on.
No, I know who you're talking about.
What was her name?
I can ask you.
I can never remember.
So,
I can never
well,
remember the
Dorian-
two girls that helped Azula, like the acrobatics one and Zuko's love interest. I can never ever.
Tylee and
Tylee.
May.
Okay.
So while Dorian's thinking of what that
Lizard
one writer's
lady's
call
name.
is,
Thinking very
I
hard.
will talk to you about how the characters in Ruby are. Now, characters in Ruby, a lot of Ruby is driven by characters. Specifically, say Ruby herself, the main character. The show starts off with her whole drive to become a huntress, and then she meets all the other characters. You've got Yang, you've got Blake, you've got Weiss, and they've all got their reasons for becoming a hunter, or huntress in their case. They've all got their own reasons for becoming a huntress. And then there are other characters like John, you got Rin, Nora. All of them have their own reasons for becoming a huntress or hunter. They have their own backstories, dark, like Weiss's and Blake's backstory are pretty dark backstories, in all honesty, when you think about it.
Quick unnecessary interjection. So the show's title is all these characters spelling Ruby, but the main character is also named Ruby.
Yes,
Is
but-
it spelled correctly, or does it also have a W?
No! All right.
So they know how to spell Ruby. They've proven that they
For those who don't know, I feel like I made too much of a distinction. Okay, the show is spelled R-W-B-Y. That's how the show is. The title
That's not how
is
you spell
spelled.
That's
It's called
I
Ruby,
never
but
heard
it's
of it.
spelled R-W-B-Y, and it's because in the show, people are separated into groups, and those groups are named after the first initials of all the all the people who are in that group. Like the first group that has Ruby, Weiss, Blake, and Yang spells out R-W-B-Y, Ruby. There's another point when they have Ruby, Jean, Nora, and Ren. If you haven't seen the show, you'll know them if you watch it. But their initial point spell out R-N-J-R. Can you guess what that one would spell out? I'd like to put out like I like. I want to put a like. Can we put it in the letters like right here?
What
like
is it?
RNJY or R? RNJR.
Ranger.
No, add an A to that and an E.
Where?
Exactly. Ranger.
Ranger?
Yes. RNJR.
Oh,
Ranger.
Ranger. Yes. Yes.
I guess.
No,
That's-
see, that I can understand that one because you're just taking out the
Yes.
vowels. But however, in Ruby, you replace the
All right,
vowel
no, we're
with
not
a
talking
consonant.
about this. We're
That's
not talking
doubling
about
up
this
the
right now.
U.
We're talking about characters.
Just
We're
because
talking
it's
about
double U
characters.
doesn't mean it's two U.
We're talking about characters.
Ruby.
That aside, look, in Ruby, the show is really driven by characters. And the thing is, all the characters, as the show progresses, they've all had to deal with their past, whether it's a horrible family, past ties with the possible terrorist group, getting your own. For the sake of spoilers, I'm not going to say that last one. But they've all had to deal with their past, and whether it's either just accept it or overcome it, they've all had to deal with it. I also just want to say, by the way, my favorite character, Crow, who also has a pretty big past, a lot of his past is kind of spoilers, so I don't want to say that.
The Nazi regime of that show. The tongue thing.
What's the name of the firebender teacher from the first season that becomes a
Not
light
Val.
loader?
No, the one the first teaches.
I actually do know this one.
And
The
then
guy
becomes-
who
well, you're
first
not
teaches
saying
that.
it. So
I
I
know,
feel
I
like-
know this. Anyway, the fact that you are explaining characters to me,
Hold on.
and you know exactly
We need to go on a whole tangent with you with what the character's name is, because we went on a whole tangent about the whole RWBY thing.
That's, you don't need to tangent me. You're explaining the characters. You know all these characters. You're like random characters from random episodes of the show.
These
the
aren't
ones you're
random.
explaining.
These aren't random characters. They're main characters of the show.
The one guy who taught Aang firebending once. and then
He's
showed
one
up
of
at
the
end.
No, but you
three
just
main
said-
members
you
of
just
the
said-
White Lotus, and you
How
can
many
remember
times do you
the
see him?
twice.
Exactly.
No, actually, no,
You
it's
know
three
who else
times.
you see twice? Boomy. You know who I remember by name? Boomy.
Exactly. So many
Actually,
characters.
no, I take that back.
He
no.
is a
You see
fantastic
Boomy.
character. I love him
You say-
so much.
You see Boomy 3 times, in all honesty.
3?
Yeah. You see him once when they first meet him. Second time when he's chained up, and the third time when he's with the White Lotus.
When did it change?
When the violation attack.
But you
Cosmos
remember
attack.
so many of these characters that I'm not even thinking
I'm just
of on the
saying,
spot.
you
I
said-
haven't even had the chance to argue for my characters, and you're just arguing.
No,
for
you
me.
just said
You're like,
if
remember
you
that one guy and that other guy and this one guy we saw for this one episode.
I could
Wow,
do
they
a
were
whole.
great.
I could do a whole one of these just on Boomy. I love Boomy so much.
You love Boomy.
Just the fact that he could have broken out at any time in that like
for
two.
character, can I just say
Sokka.
Sokka?
Sokka's the best
Who doesn't
character in
like
the whole
Sokka?
show.
Who doesn't?
Fair
And
enough.
they immediately killed him off in Korra, and it's the main reason that I
I
hated
just
Korra
want
in
to
the
say
show.
Song is like the Song of Ruby, but
Who's
y'all don't
that?
know about that.
I wouldn't, because it's not on TV.
And he
Okay,
will never
yeah,
be
for some
Sokka.
reason it's extremely popular. I'm just tossing that fact out. Let me just
Say,
take that fact
only
and
you
toss
have
it to
seen
you.
the show on this table.
I kid you
All right,
not,
moving
9
on.
times out of 10
Have we
you
done this
probably
for too
heard.
long?
Wait, are you done explaining your
Sokka.
characters? Or?
His name rhymes with an Aka.
Let me get this
Get it?
straight. Let me get this straight. Your
Rakia.
your only offense for characters is Sokka.
Sokka? Do I need more?
Yeah, kind of actually.
Round 3.
Josh, you may start.
Okay, I'm gonna stop all these problems because I know you both of you are gonna rip on Ruby.
You can try.
Okay, all right. So
It somehow
let me just
looked
say,
worse the floor they were on.
the first season, yeah, it looked bad. But you want to know why it looked bad? Because
Done by people who don't know how to
a
animate.
single group of people who basically, like a single group of people, it was not a professional group of people,
Yeah, no, it wasn't. That's the problem.
did this, and yet for some reason, I'm gonna toss this out again. The first season and subsequent seasons afterwards got massively successful.
I'm gonna say that's
The
because
animation
they were linked
alone,
to Rooster
and this is animation aside, but also as seasons progressed, you had seasons 1 through 3, and you could see from season 1 to season 3, the animation had increased significantly.
because they had practice.
Exactly.
But they
And then
also
you jump from 3 to season 4 or volume 4. The animation increased massively. Like there was a significantly. And now we go from 4 to I think we're at 6 now. the animation's even better. So yeah, it may have started out a little bad, not gonna lie. Personally, I think it has a little charm to it, the first 3 seasons, the animation.
I will admit, at the time, it looked really good.
Yeah.
Like, when it first came out and I saw that trailer for, like, the Ruby trailer, I was like, that actually looks really, really good.
And the action
it has not aged well at all.
No, and it hasn't, but the thing came out like, what, 2014? I don't remember the name, but look. Well, it didn't start out the best. It also had a professional crew, but it didn't start out the best, but for the fact that it didn't have a professional crew, and it was people working with what they had, and now it's at a point where the animation looks fantastic, and even back then, the action sequences still looked really good. I think the animation still is good. Like, it's made leaps and bounds since the first season.
We're arguing about best animation, not most improved. So
that was a low blow, and I
that
loved
was
it.
it.
so I think I'm gonna have to take this one, but you can argue for yours first.
I am going to argue for mine. I'm just also going to add on to your point a little bit of the fact that the thing with Ruby is also, though, like, the animation got better, but at the same time more boring, I feel like, as the show went on. Like, I feel like the first couple seasons, from what I've seen, I have not watched a lot of the show. From what I've seen, it seems like the first, like, 2-3 seasons did all these really creative, like, intricate, like, choreographed scenes. And then the animation got better, and then it kind of just relied heavily on the animation being better.
Well,
and
I'm not
it's
gonna lie,
somehow equally as interesting to look at now.
I'm not gonna
because of,
lie,
like-
the first 3 seasons I think had a little bit, the animation for the first 3 seasons had a little bit of charm
And obviously
to it.
and that's not entirely on the fault of animation, because obviously, like, Monty having passed, that
nostalgia.
definitely
Yeah,
affected the
things change.
series as a whole.
Are you saying nostalgia charm or actual charm?
Nostalgia, John.
Well, anyway.
I just feel like it had a little bit, it had a bit of nostalgia charm to it. And yeah, you're right to a certain degree, but it still made significant leaps and bounds. And now, if you look at the animation now, it's good. Yeah. Fight me, I don't care what you say. I'm more pointing at you, Dorian. The animation now, especially since it's a 3D anime, it's not like 2D.
I don't even have to argue
A
against
few,
you. I just
a
have to
few
argue for
seasons are
Avatar.
2D, but mainly it's 3D.
And now that'll segue into me arguing for why my 2D animation still works really well, because it did a very interesting blend of art styles. Like, you can look at Avatar and you can be like, that is distinctly anime inspired, and you can look at Ruby and be like, that's just like some CGI/anime inspired animation.
You know, I'm gonna let you talk now.
And Teen Titans did
I
this
disagree with that.
Teen Titans did this really cool blend of an anime art style and like a classic Western art style, and like a little bit based on like comic book, like panel-y, like still frame, and kind of made it all into this one very unique looking product that's still, again, like Avatar, has aged very, very well, because it was very simplistic, but also very detailed. Everyone's very expressive, like sometimes over-the-top anime goofy, and sometimes Western, like stoic action looking, and I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like it's very impressive to still watch. You know what I mean? How it can go, how it can, and I mean that is a thing in anime too, but I feel like it's more shocking from like a kid's cartoon to see it so quickly go from like what you'd expect from like a Saturday cartoon to like this very like intense looking scene, like, and like literally like a minute tops, like a scene will cut and it'll be a whole another art style almost.
I will argue that Teen Titans has the problem of still frames.
It does have the problem still.
Yeah, it can be kind of flat. from
But
time to
every
time.
show does that.
Every
Admittedly,
show
there are shows
does
that are
it.
better and are worse than that, and I will admit that Teen Titans probably does it more than Avatar. But there are still plenty of scenes in Avatar where they use like some still
There's still
shots.
shots, but like when you get into the action and someone's throwing a punch and I'm listening to them scream while the punch zooms in,
Yeah.
I'm not that interested in it.
Yeah, I actually want to see the fist moving, not the background moving, the fist still like right here.
And I don't think the show personally is aged that well, but that's just my opinion.
Like I said, and that it's a very subjective opinion, but I just
Yeah.
feel like because it's such a unique.
You can have nostalgia
blend,
for
it's
it,
a unique.
yeah.
Well, not even nostalgia. I just argue that that unique blend, even if it doesn't age well, I'll always be able to look at it and be like, that's such an interesting thing that I've seen almost nothing else do.
I mean, I'll
You know
give
what
you
I mean?
this. Teen Titans, if you were to just see that automatically, or if you were to just see that generally, you'd automatically know it was Teen Titans.
Exactly.
The animation,
That's
the
what I'm
animation
saying, is it has a
style
horribly
is
unique
it's
look
unique.
to it.
Yeah,
That
so
even if in a couple of years it's like looks
It's not-
terrible,
it
you
hasn't
can be
even
like,
aged that bad.
it hasn't
it's
aged
not
that
too bad.
badly.
I think the show overall has aged
Yeah.
But the animation is what's, because there's like, I try to go back and watch it sometimes, and there's like dialogue sequences between characters that I'm like, ugh, this is rough. It sounds like somebody said it, and then somebody said it across the country. 3 seconds too long. The wait between.
3 seconds.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Though you have like characters recording.
Yeah. And the dialogue's all a little awkward pauses. Let me talk about Avatar.
Now
That
this
show is
spiel.
so and every fight scene, there's like a fight in almost every episode. Every time there's any type of action, there's
I'm not sure about
a
that.
lot of movements. I said almost every. No, don't hold me to that. But
I mean, there's a fight in almost every episode of Ruby too, but we're not gonna talk about that.
but it's so fluid. Every fight scene is so well choreographed. Aang is going from here to here doing flips, and you can fully recognize that they're flips. It's not still frames. It's not cameras that are moving from here to here to there.
I'm sorry, I gotta interrupt you there. If we're talking about choreography and action and fluidity, yeah, no,
That's
Ruby.
animation.
Yeah, no, Ruby is. People have praised Ruby with its choreography and fluidity of
I will,
combat.
on the point of Avatar, I will also give the credit that it did a fantastic thing. It's a little less animation, a little more choreography, but like you said, that kind of
With the
kinda
different
goes hand in
bending styles.
The
having
different bending styles are all incredibly unique, and so
Well,
many shows
all
will
the-
have systems that have supposedly all these options, but they'll all look incredibly similar when executed. Avatar
Well, all
did a
the-
fantastic thing where
all
each
the other
element is
bending
rooted
styles.
in like a specific real-world martial art.
Yeah, all
then
the
and
bending
they
styles are
use that
Ruby.
very heavily.
every person
Which was
who
another
fights with their
problem.
elements.
Which was another problem I had with Korra. I know we've decided that Korra
Oh,
is not
no,
part
I
of this
hate-
conversation, but every single move in Korra became punch element, kick element.
Yeah, no, I
The
hated
Avatar
that.
did this fantastic.
It was-
Everything had like all of the earthbending
Yeah,
moves
it
had
actually
this
looked like
rigid
martial arts.
movements, and
Yeah.
like air was so like flowy and like all over the place.
And for the
like,
whole first season, it's just fucking flying all over the place.
Like it all took these
breeze.
intricate movements that didn't feel labored, they all felt necessary and all did this beautiful thing. And
imagine
then
if
Korra
Korra
came in and was like,
ran.
boo, 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 and like the rocks
I
would
was like,
fly
oh,
at people. And I
boxing
was
plus
like, I don't-
bending, that'll be really cool. And then it happened, and I was
Yeah,
like,
okay,
that's
yeah.
lame.
For like the sports like thing they tried to do,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, but then when it went into the
Became
real world,
life.
and I was like,
He's like,
no.
I'm gonna put this rock.
And
up
then
in
the
it.
only thing that
Punch
really
it.
required movement was lava bending, but then they almost made it look like too much movement for very little result.
Well, realistically, when you think about lava building, you're thinking of you're trying to move liquid rock, and it's also superheated. So realistically, you probably would need to put a little bit more effort.
You
into
would need
it.
to
I
put a little
will
more
say-
effort into it, but it was always very unsatisfying to watch them do these crazy and then like spread like super aggressively, and then like a little bit of dribble lava comes out, and I was like, oh.
Reminds me of the.
Remember the fight against Kuvira?
Final round.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna beat all of you,
No,
but I'm just saying.
my whole animation was part about the fight. So what I was saying is, so many shows have well choreographed. Oh, I'm punching, I'm dodging, I'm doing crazy flips around you, I'm doing whatever else. But then the added element of the elements.
And it adds a
Ironically.
whole other layer.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
so
quite
awesome.
honestly, I'm gonna bow out of this last one. Because other than Robin, nobody else really in Teen Titans has like these very intricate fighting styles. Cyborg as he hit things real hard. Beast Boy as he turns into a big animal and tackles things. Raven and Starfire shoot the same looking beam. Robin's the only one that has to put any effort into what he
he's got
does.
no power.
But when he does, it's fantastic. But I will argue that it is as good as any single character from your shows, but you all have a bunch of characters that can do that, so I know I've lost already.
No. He has not won this. No.
Aang versus the Fire Lord is amazingly beautiful. So,
You're right.
I actually argue
You're right.
choreography-wise, that fight was the least
I mean, there
impressive
wasn't a
out of the
lot of
series.
choreography when you think
It was
about
cool looking, but it was just like big fire column, big fire column.
Yeah,
I've
pretty
never
much.
seen anything like that in the show before.
You've never seen it?
It's
I'm
so
not saying the
cool.
epicness and the mood wasn't great,
Yeah,
but
the scale of it was
choreography
good.
and fluidity that you've been arguing was not
Yeah, the
there for
scale
it.
of the battle and the
It
battle
was a lot of
itself was
fire
cool.
columns, the occasional kick punch, and then he steals his bending.
Yeah,
Spoilers
pretty
if
much.
you haven't seen
Yeah.
Avatar.
Listen, and then they reconciled that with the fight between Azula and.
So then
That-
talk about that fight,
that
because that was
was
the much
good.
better.
That was good.
That
Beautiful.
final Agni Kai was the peak of that show.
So
Yeah.
beautiful, it was so amazing.
Look,
It
I'm
was
not
so
going to
well
argue with that
choreographed.
one, but my turn.
Anything Katara ever does,
I
past
hated-
season 2.
Okay, but I
I
also
like how you- I
hated,
like-
I hated Katara during
I like
that
how you
Agni Kai, because that should have been
specified after
Zuko's
season
win.
2.
And then her bitch ass was like, no, don't fight. And then he had to sacrifice
Oh,
himself
that bugged me.
almost. And like,
That bugged me so much.
so bad.
Like,
shot.
what
And
were
then
you
she
doing?
snaked that win, and I was like, ooh.
Technically,
Yeah.
Zuko could have just zapped her with her own lightning.
And then,
technically had to.
oh yeah, he could have and then messed
And
it
he
up.
was like,
I mean,
this way.
Yeah. Well, because
Okay.
he also
Hey,
was like becoming a better person and didn't want to kill her. And it was his family.
That's enough about that.
Yeah,
no one
is it
ca-
enough about
No one cares.
Okay, I can go over every fight. Remember the
We-
first fight?
Let's talk for a while. Continue.
Remember the
first fight.
first-
Let him go.
Okay, if we're talking about fluidity, choreography, and the fights themselves, Ruby has, from time and time again, like I said before, has been praised for its fluidity, choreography, and fighting. And whether the animation has from the first time that the animation from the first season, and the animation was kind of bulky, blocky from the first season. Even then, it was really good. The fights, the the movement, the choreography, they were all good. And
What separates it from every other anime fight?
I kind of wanted to have a point because it's going to add to your argument and subtract from your argument. But the big thing for me is that it looks blocky and like, I'd argue not as good as a lot of art styles because it's not as fluid. But the reason for that is because it's all based in real captured movement, which I think is what makes it so impressive and so stand out. Yeah, it's all mocap, like
I
fight
said,
sequences.
the
And that's why,
choreography.
because it is still incredibly fluid. It's, I'd argue, not as fluid as like Avatar, but it is still very well done for the fact that it is real people doing all of that and then put into an animated world. And I think that's incredible. So there you go.
on top of that,
And it was made of a meteor.
I'm kind of jumping back to an animation real quick, but you got to remember all of Ruby's animation, or at least majority of Ruby's animation, is 3D animation. You look back at any anime that has 3D animation in it, it sucks majority of the time. It sucks. So for a show to be basically majority 3D animated and still look very fluid and good,
But only during the fight scenes.
that's not true. Okay, the first 3 seasons maybe, but the fourth season and on, no, it was good. It was very fluid, and it's skill. Like again, like you said, all the moves, or at least most of the moves you see in the show during the fight scenes, they're based in reality. In fact, that actual people are doing many of those moves. So.
I mean, my show also had its stuff choreographed out and videotaped by real people. But then they was just
Well,
put
and then
animation.
that was where subtract comes from his point, because there's a very interesting argument, especially in recent times with CGI getting so good, where there's an argument of like, should things get super realistic, because then you lose the creativity and like the beauty of like
crazy.
because
top of
once
that-
everything becomes so real that it has to look realistic, then when you try to do stuff like Avatar, it's going to look bad, because now you have all these like very realistic looking things
Yeah, I understand
trying
what
to
you mean.
be like artsy essentially.
Yeah, I
And
get
then
what
it's
you
like,
mean.
where's the line? Like, should we keep going where we're going? Uh-oh.
Okay.
Well, we got
Personally,
yelled at a little bit. Not really yelled at. Just told we had to stop because we talked for a while, but I had fun.
I wiped the floor with them.
Yeah, I
and
definitely
that's
feel like
That's his
Avatar won
opinion
that, but
personally.
I enjoy
pretty sure I
talking
won.
about it still.
Oh,
I like
it's a good
I like
argument.
getting into nerd arguments. It is interesting to bounce ideas with people.